Joined by the attorney for Charger wide receiver Vincent Jackson. Cole Casey joins us on the program. Cole, welcome to the program. Nice to have you today.
Hey, thanks, Coach. I appreciate it. On a personal note, I've been listening to you since I started law school.
Well, I appreciate that. Thank you so much. Let's talk about what was actual on the Internet today. It talked about Vincent pleading guilty to that DUI charge back in 2009, and it also went on to state that he was going to serve jail time and have a 5-year probation. Could you talk about what is inaccurate?
Yes, sure. The reports that he was going to serve jail time are inaccurate. What the County of San Diego has a unique situation that a lot of other counties don't have. And when someone, there's a mandatory minimum sentence on a second-time DUI, and that is the minimum, the bare minimum, is 96 hours in custody. Well, in the San Diego Superior Court, the downtown court, you are allowed to do that through the program which is called the Sheriff's Work Release Program. In layman's terms, it's community service. Okay, and that's what Vince got. The judge was very clear. We were in front of Judge Danielson yesterday. He was an excellent judge, and he just said that, I am not going to treat this man any differently than anybody else, despite the wishes of the city attorney's office. He was treated just like any other offender would be, and that is you get 96 hours of work release. It is not jail time, and you're usually allowed to spread that over a couple of weekends.
Now, has his license been suspended?
Well, that's an ongoing issue, Coach, and I'm not really at liberty to talk about that because that's sort of the question of the day on the case that is upcoming, the case that stems from the incident prior to the Jets game where he was cited, and which really gave rise to a lot of the acrimony that was coming from the prosecution on his DUI case, were some of the comments he made with Darren, a few weeks ago. But in terms of the issue in that case isn't so much whether or not his license is suspended now, but what did he know at the time? And there are some conflicting documents. There had been some going back and forth with the DMV. There had been an appeal filed with the DMV, and Vince was in possession of a document that said you have a restricted driving privilege to and from work. When he was cited, apparently, and again, I'm just hearing this secondhand, we have not arraigned him yet in court or anything, but what we are being told through law enforcement is that they actually recognized that he hadn't been given notice that his license was fully suspended, and they therefore gave him notice right there. They actually filled out a paper and said, you now have notice that your license is suspended. So currently, yes, his license is suspended. At the time, obviously that's going to be an issue in the upcoming case that's unrelated to the DUI.
We're joined by Cole Casey, the attorney for Charger wide receiver Vincent Jackson. I guess my next question would be, what is the time frame where he has to do this work release program for 4 days?
Well, what the judge ordered him to do, he'll have to make contact with the San Diego Superior Court offices, the business offices, through their probation. And let's be clear on one thing. He was not placed on what we normally call probation, formal probation, meaning he does not have a probation officer. He does not have anybody that's monitoring. And this is not formal probation where there's what's called a Fourth Amendment waiver where they can stop you and search you and do anything like that without a warrant. He was placed on what is called summary or informal probation. And that just means it's what we call probation to the court. And those rules are, don't drive with any alcohol in your system, be law-abiding in all other respects, aside from minor traffic offenses, which, can hit anybody. And then he, as a part of his probation, within 30 days, he'll have to make contact with the court business office, and they will arrange with him when he will do those days of community service, as well as paying fines and attending classes and things like that you have to do for a DUI.
Cole Casey, our guest here on Double X 1090. So here in the next month or two, I could be driving down the coast, and Vincent Jackson could be picking up trash.
Well, I guess anything is possible. I don't know exactly what they'll have him. Certainly they have to make some accommodations, recognizing that, they don't want to put anybody at risk, and they certainly, if you have somebody that might draw undue attention to themselves, that could put other people at risk as well. And I'm sure the Sheriff's Department, when they do this, will be cognizant of all of that, and I've never known them to act irresponsibly on this. So they're going to have Vince's best interest, but as well as the other people that are involved in that program as well. They want to make sure that everybody is safe and not put in any sort of jeopardy.
Cole, last question. I appreciate you coming on to set the record straight, because that's what I try to do, is be as solid as we can be and getting the facts out when you're talking about, different athletes and their families are driving around. And I saw this report early this morning, and then I was made aware that it was an erroneous report. How did this report, do you have any idea how this got out the wrong information regarding a very serious situation?
I have no idea. Honestly, no idea. I found out about it secondhand this morning, too, that a couple of well-known sports media, national sports media websites were running an article that said that he was going to serve jail time, and I don't know where they got that, where that came from. They certainly didn't get it from me or from Vince or from anybody associated with my law firm or with Vince. I don't know. I'd be guessing. Probably somebody within the court system. Who knows? Maybe the city attorney's office. I honestly don't know. It would just be guessing.
Well, aside from coming on, I appreciate you, coming on to set the record straight. How do you go about, suppressing this nationally now? Do you call the Associated Press? Do you call local media? How do you deal with it?
Well, again, I've known Darren Smith for quite a while, and it's funny, when Marty called me this morning, I was just getting ready to call Darren because I had spoken to some people that had told me that this was going on. So I'm not going to do a media campaign by any stretch. I mean, the truth is what the truth is, and I don't have the time, frankly, or the interest in going to the national media and saying, hey, wait, you guys have made a big mistake. They're going to do what they're going to do. And I think, once this thing sort of dies down in the next couple of days, I don't think anybody in the national media is going to care much. I think the big story is going to be, what's the NFL going to do at this point? And that's really a matter for, the agents that represent Vince and dealing with Roger Goodell and those people. And I think they're all working together to try to figure out what's the best thing to do. But, locally, I've spoken to you and I've spoken to the Union Tribune, and that's about it. And, I probably am going to keep it that way. I tend to only speak to the people that I know I can trust, because sometimes things get taken so far out of context and nobody wins. So we've sort of been very tight-lipped about things, and that's one of the reasons why the plea went down yesterday sort of on an unannounced basis as opposed to doing it on a regularly scheduled court appearance, was for that very reason.
Well, I appreciate you having confidence in me. Hey, as I let you out, and going back to the NFL and Roger Goodell, is there a real concern that he could miss the opening game of next year?
I don't know the answer to that, Coach. This is between Vince's agents and the Chargers and the NFL. I've not really been privy to much of those, other than just sort of as a spectator, letting them do their job. So he's in good hands. He's got his agent, who was out here in San Diego last week, is very skilled, very competent, and I'm sure he's working diligently with the NFL to make sure that whatever it is, the damage is minimal, because I think everybody here in town wants to see just, Vince put all this behind him and get back out on the field and catch footballs, which he's been doing a fabulous job of doing.
Hey, Cole, thanks so much for the time, and thanks for being a long-time listener.
Hey, my pleasure, Coach. Always good to hear you.
Take care, Cole.
Talk to you later. Bye.
Cole Casey, setting the record